being here. They got Moose Johnston. I don't know why we're talking to him, to be honest. We'll bring him up here.
We love Moose.
We went to the same school at the same time. There's a connection. Come up here. Look how handsome he is. He's well built still.
He's another one that looks good.
Yeah, but he doesn't age either. We'll find out what he's taking.
And now another random Super Bowl guest.
Thank you. The Moose is here. Daryl, how you been? Well,
Good to see you,
get you also. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How you doing?
You have some balls, and let me tell you something right now. This is not going to go well.
Why is that?
How dare you show up on this set with next to Boomer and next to me wearing that gaudy Super Bowl ring? You know
This isn't the gaudy one. This is the understated one.
He didn't win one, and I'm a Jet fan. And you're mocking us with this ring, knowing that he'll never win one because he's out of the league. And as a Jet fan, I'll never experience my team winning one.
I tell everybody in Dallas, because they're so fickle, that the true fans of the NFL, a Jet fan base, a Browns fan base, the teams that struggle, are the ones that I have a tremendous amount of respect for.
I appreciate that. So I'm good with you then. Let me ask you a question. As a former Cowboy, when you watch, obviously, the Cowboys, and most of America got great joy to the fact that they didn't win. You love them or hate them.
It was released. They tied Green Bay for the #1 favorite franchise, and they were second to last behind the Patriots for most hated franchise.
Right, it's always going to be there. It's like Duke basketball, old school Notre Dame.
Yep.
Montreal Canadiens.
Right, Dallas is just that team. It's they're polarizing. You still tight with Tony Romo?
Yes.
What is your feeling? There's some people that think because of his relationship with the Jones family that he stays with Dallas because you don't know Dak in year 2, and of course injuries. The flip side of that argument is that they will do quote unquote right by him, and provided it probably be an AFC team, they will orchestrate an opportunity for him to continue to play football. Which way do you think it goes?
Well, can they do right by him? I'm sure they would like to do right by him, but with the injury concerns and the cap number, what is the value in a trade? Is somebody willing to give up what the Jones family and the organization is looking for in compensation? If that doesn't happen, then I think you're all of a sudden into that release mode on June 1st to spread out the salary cap hit. I don't think you'll ever see him truly released and take that financial burden on in 1 year, although I think it frees up like $5 million on the cap this year. So the big discussion in Dallas seems to be it's going to be spread out. It'll be a June 1st decision spread out over the next 2 years because they can't get the value in the trade. But Tony does want to go out and compete.
He wants to play.
Yeah, and Jerry has talked multiple times about he considered that Tony had 4 to 5 years left on his career. So with the injury this year, that's still 3 to 4 years. So, if that's true, there's an opportunity for him to get out there. There is a lot of respect between Tony and the organization. They'd like to see him land somewhere where he has an opportunity to compete for a championship.
I would see him. Greg brought this up the other day, and I was thinking about it. It does make a lot of sense. Seeing him maybe in Kansas City or Denver would make a lot of sense for both of those franchises. I don't know if John Elway's looking for another guy, an older guy. I would think that Kansas City probably feels like they went as far as they could go with Alex Smith, which would mean that maybe the Jets get a chance to get Alex Smith to be their quarterback, which would be a stabilizing factor for a team that's going through a transition right now. So a lot of that stuff makes a lot of sense. But, at the end of the day, one of your buddies, also John Lynch, gets this job out in San Francisco. Did you have any inclination that he would have had some sort of interest in a job of this magnitude?
I did not. I know there's, I think there's a little bit of concern from all of us in the industry of what direction sports television is heading with the digital platform and everything. There's the budgets and everything that are out there. There's a big change. There's kind of a paradigm shift going on in our industry right now. So I think that some guys are looking for other alternatives. I was not aware that John was contemplating getting into the personnel management style.
Shocked.
Yeah. And it was funny because I had heard that people were like, wow, they've hired a guy with no experience as a GM, former player,
Right.
but the name wasn't coming out. And then I saw the name, and people said, did you know John was thinking that way? And I said, no, I had no idea.
Because that doesn't happen overnight. There had to be months and months of conversations about that.
Absolutely.
So he's a good secret keeper. I'll give you that. Like, that's how you can. If you give him a secret, that guy ain't telling
He also has a relationship with Kyle Shanahan, and I think once the San Francisco 49ers zeroed in on Shanahan, they said, okay, who do you want? Who's out there? Who's available? And who do you think would be a great guy to work with? I'm sure he gave the recommendation. It's because it's not going to happen if those two guys don't like each other.
Exactly.
Now the unprecedented 6-year deal.
That's the big one.
Thing. And I think what that shows you, it shows you how far behind both Lynch and Shanahan think that the 49ers really are to rebuilding that franchise up to respectability where it was with Harbaugh and Balky at one point.
Oh, because they give them that much time to
Yeah,
get it right.
yeah, I would
There's
think
no
so.
pressure of, you better get it right next 2 years.
Yeah.
You got a 6-year contract. Yeah, you brought something up, which is interesting. How, a John Lynch may look at the future and say, TV, they're cutting back. Maybe they don't need an analyst. Maybe they're not going to, keep a higher price guy. They're bringing a younger guy, whatever it is. We've all dealt with that in broadcasting, which leads me to ask you the question, because you've clearly had to have contemplated this. If that happens to you, or one day you decide to take control of your own professional career and walk away from broadcasting because you see the writing on the wall, what does Daryl Johnston want to do with his life? You going to be a pig farmer? You going to raise cattle? What are we doing?
I miss the competitive nature of sports. It's not existing in broadcasting. You walk away from a broadcast, you don't know if you did good, bad. Some people are going to like what you did because you're a Cowboy. Some people are going to hate what you did because you're a former Cowboy.
Sure.
So there's no validation in your preparation. There's no direction of what you need to improve on because there is no win-lose. You walk out and it's empty. I miss the feeling of preparing, competing, and then having a defined win or loss situation and moving forward. So I would love to get back into something that has that feeling again. I really, really miss that.
Physically, or does it not matter?
Physically, mentally.
So you're joining the MMA?
That's probably off the list.
You're going,
That's
you're going to be a
probably
mixed
off
martial artist.
So you're talking about possibly coaching or front office type of stuff?
Yeah, it would probably more. The coaching thing. I tell people this all the time. They're like, "Why did you go into television as opposed to going into coaching right away?" I said, "Those guys work too hard."
Yeah.
I just started my family. I didn't want time away from my family. I played the game of football to put myself in a position financially where I could be around my kids as they grew up. So I didn't want to forfeit that. At this stage now, my kids are getting to the point where they're, my son's a junior, my daughter's a freshman. They're going to be in college pretty soon. We're going to be empty nesters. I need to start laying the groundwork for something down the road, whether that's front office, whether that's on a staff, whether it's in another industry.
Perhaps one day I'll drive into a quick lane tire and auto center, and you'll be the guy changing my tire. But you'll be the best at it.
I would
and
be the
that'll
best
drive
one.
You.
You'd be out of there in less than 5 minutes. It'd be
This
like
is what
NASCAR.
I'm talking about.
Exactly.
I need 4 white walls. Johnston, go. And Daryl's here with quick lane. Always ready to serve. Last year, they reinforced that commitment to our nation's veterans. They launched a great campaign called Trading One Uniform for Another. 5 United States veterans were awarded $10,000 scholarships towards becoming licensed automotive service technicians. So a chance for them to make a living when they come back. Yeah, we're doing a program with Diageo, similar. We're helping guys get educated. So it's great that Quick Lane's doing it. I'm sure you're proud to be a part of it.
Absolutely, and it's exactly what we just talked about, the transitioning from one career to another. I mean, my career ended when I was 34. What are you going to do now? I was very, very fortunate that TV was there for me. A lot of things aren't there for our military vets. So I really, this hit really close to home for me. I've got a lot of friends, a lot of family who've been in the military. I've watched guys struggle who are friends coming out of the military. I've watched my teammates struggle trying to find that next career. So, what Quick Lane is doing here with these scholarships is fantastic. They did it last year. Actually just announced the winners at the Quick Lane Bowl in December. So they're actually just starting their training right now. It was such a big hit. They're going to do it again here in 2017. So,
as well as he speaks, I think there's going to be an afternoon radio talk show opening pretty soon.
Yeah, but he don't want to move to New York.
Maybe he would.
Nah, it's not his thing. It's not for him.
What are you talking about?
It's not for him.
What do you mean it's not for
Yeah,
him? How do you
it's
know
not
it's
New
not
York's
for him?
not
how do you
for
know
him.
it's not?
You're not for
Because
him.
I know you.
I
It's
can
not
live.
for you.
I can manage the streets.
This my man can live anywhere, especially if he's working with Kenny Albert. He knows New York pretty well.
Listen, it's good seeing you, man.
It's great to see you guys.
Best to your
Moose, thanks.
family.
Yeah, thanks for your help with
See you
Quick Lane.
guys.
I appreciate it. Yeah,
Of
good
course,
to see you.
that's the Moose Johnson, of course, from the Dallas Cowboys, and now Quick Lane.